Hey guys and gals, Malkuth1974 back at you with another episode of our career playthrough for Kerbal Space Program 1.0. So let's go over a little bit of what we did last time. We launched a few things, we got some extra money, and I said we're going to upgrade our research center. But first I want to just say that this episode is going to deviate a little bit. I've been working the last 2.5 weeks not only on making videos for my YouTube page, but also on my mod. Now, if you guys don't know, I am the mod author of Mission Controller 2. It is a mod for Kerbal Space Program that adds many contracts to, and different kinds of contracts to Missions Controller contract system. Now, if you look up here in the little corner here, you can see that I actually have the icon up here. So we're all good with that. Yeah, we've done the synchronous orbit. That's good. So let's go over a little bit. Today we're going to kind of go over a little bit of things I'm adding to Mission Controller. The version that I'm playing right now is not yet available to the public. I love it when I can say that. So this is like a first view from you guys. Get to see it. So let's go over a few things first. I've added 4 new parts to Mission Controller, and those parts are called the C25 Communications Core. I've made these parts myself. These are my first parts that I've ever made in Mission in any Kerbal, in anything actually. So I had a lot of the time spent in that 2.5 weeks was learning how to do models and textures and stuff like that, and using GIMP and all these weird things. So one new model is the C25. I don't think I can get much closer to it. This is a communications device. It's called the Communication Core. It uses a specific part that you need for certain missions, so that's one of them. I also got the NavSat-1 Navigation Core. I think this was my first part I made, I believe it or not. You can tell a little bit in its design. It doesn't look as efficient as some of the other ones. That is a navigational core. I also have a MT1 weather core. This is a weather satellite. It detects weather patterns on Kerbin and relays them back to scientists and meteorologists on Kerbin, so they can tell any Kerbals that some snow is coming or rain or whatever. Yeah. The last part is the RCM-55 research core. This is a research core by itself, and animation wise it's not supposed to open like that yet, but we'll work on that, I guess. I'm not sure why it opened. Maybe it's because I took that thing off. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, so that's the research core. It is animated, so it does open up, and in space you'll see that, and that's part of how it works, but we'll just put that away for now. So let's go over the contracts and how the contract systems work. Actually, we're just going to do it, because if I talk about it and then do it, that's going to be annoying. So let's look for a new contract. Now, the contracts start coming up when you unlock these parts, which are part of electrics, and all the parts are loaded in electrics. You get them all 4 of them. And as you can tell, we already unlocked that, so that's not a big huge thing. And let's go back into here, look for okay, so here we go. Launch new navigational satellite into Kerbin. So navigation satellite, this gives you a brief history of the type of satellites and why we launch them and what they do. All the satellite missions and Mission Controller now are categorized in 4 different types. You got navigation, communication, research, and weather, and you'll get all 4 types of satellite missions. Like, I got 2 of them right now. I got a launch new navigational satellite, and I got a launch new research satellite. I'm not going to use that because I might have to work on that part a little bit to make sure it works correctly, but so the launch new navigation satellite is what we will do. So the premise of it is that we need to put a not a navigational core on there. That is not part specific, that is module specific. So as long as that I can't even talk. As long as that you have the particular part that you need, not part, but module that you need, it will accept it for this mission. So I give you 4 of them, and if anybody needs to, they can add more once it's released, different parts, then they can add the module to it, and it will work just fine. Whew, that was a lot. So you must bring the navigational satellite to the specified orbit with module type 2 and a frequency of 1.5. Set your satellite values in the editor before takeoff. Once you get your assigned orbital height, transmit the data packet to customers to complete the objectives. Be warned, you only have one shot to send the packet. If it's incorrect, you will have to launch a new vessel. So that is the basic premise of the mission. So obviously we have to enter a geostationary orbit around Kerbin with an APA of at least 2868000. That is the PEA and the APA. This will get us into a geostationary orbit, and I'll show you what that is once we get up there. Actually, we've already kind of seen it. We saw a synchronous orbit. We didn't see a stationary orbit. There is a slight difference. We have to have a line of sight of Kerbal Space Center, and we have to connect with that Kerbal Space Center with a frequency of 1.5. Again, that is part of the satellite. We'll go over that in a second. Send data stream and connect satellite to customers. This is basically the objective of the mission, where we finally get it up there and we connect it and the customers take it over, and that's great. Launch a new unmanned probe that has an antenna and can generate power. That's important. This is unmanned. And vessel must survive while contract is live. That means if I lose this vessel while I'm doing this contract, I get a failure of $160,000. And that is to pay for the equipment and everything that the company put into this satellite. So that is something to remember. We're going to accept that. It's in there. Let's go build the part real quick. We're going to actually have to build the satellite. Oh, wait. Did I build the satellite last time? Let's take a look. Did I name it? It's been a few days since I played, so I think this is the one. Let's take a look at it, and we can adjust it a little bit if we have to. Yeah, we did build one. Nice, nice. Okay, so let's undo this. Delete fairing. Wow, I put that thing into space. Well, we're gonna go a little bit more. Nah, let's continue with our use of that. What is the? Oh yeah, that has plenty. So we're gonna have to move that because we're gonna need that for something else. Let's put this. Let's put it like at an angle pointing up. Remember, it needs a cumulotron or an antenna, plus it needs to generate power, which we do have the solar panels on there. That's what generate power. Plus we can store power with the battery panels. So let's take a look here. So if we go down to the contracts and we take a look at this, it says send data stream and connect satellite to customers. Well, this data stream needs to be set to a specific frequency and a module, and that's what the customers want. So if I click on this little note down here, to tell me exactly what I need to set this to. So set module type in editor to 2 and frequency to 1.5, and it says use core type navigation. So let's go into, all the parts are located in utility, by the way, and I need to look for the navigation one. That is this one, the navsat 1 navigational core. I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to put it on top of a satellite like that. And let's, okay, so we got that all set up. We know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the part, and we're going to have some tweakables that come up. So one of the tweakables is module type, and the other one is set frequency. So we know that we need a module type in editor to 2, or set module type to 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak this a little bit. You can see it goes all the way up to 4, all the way down to 1. So I'm going to set it at 2, so that's the module type. That's the type of module that the customer wants in it, or who needs that module. And the frequency is 1.5. Wow, that's pretty low actually. So we're going to go, see, goes up to 50 and all the way down to 1. I'm going to set it to 1.5. At least I'm going to try. That might be an issue. I don't think I can hit 1.5. Alright, so I kind of went out and I changed things around a little bit. I actually picked up the same kind of mission with, we just changed around a few of the things. So now I'm going to set the module type in here to 3, since that's what it's asking for. Set that to 3, and now it wants us to have a frequency of 30.5. So we'll go like this, 30.5. So 3, 30.5, that is all set. Everything else seems good, so let's set the fairings up here. And we'll go like that. I don't like that. Can I kind of tuck these in? Yeah, look at that. There we go. There we go. So everything's set up. I can save this as the satellite, and we can get this mission on the road. Let's launch. All right, so we're not going to go through the pain of launching and stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this into space. I'm going to get us on our way to a geostationary orbit around Kerbin, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that we need to do. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, as I'm climbing here to get to an APA, or a high orbit of 286800, we could see, let me just watch this for a second, make sure we don't mess up. But look at that icon down there. That icon is part of the mission. So 2828, let's see, 2868. I've done this 1,000 times in my, I went over a little bit, that's fine. So anyway, look. So part of the mission is that you have to have a line of sight of East Shore Station with a frequency of 30.5. That's the same thing that we set our frequency in the editor to. And East Shore Station is she said by the seashore. Jeez, can I actually do that? No, I won't. I'm not even going to attempt that. So anyway, we have an icon that is representing where that station is. So that is another new thing that's in Mission Controller. That kind of hacked into the fine print waypoint system and used it to do this. Shh, don't tell nobody. But anyway, no, I didn't really hack. It was readily available to me. I found it, I swear, in the game, actually, in the actual editing. So anyway, so we have to be in a line of sight at all times with this East Shore Station. And what that means is that is part of why we are going to a geostationary orbit. A geostationary orbit is when you are lined up with a particular part of a satellite body. In this case, we are going to be pointing at East Shore Station, and we continuously stay in orbit with it. It never leaves our view of sight from the point of view of our satellite. Geosynchronous is that you are actually synchronized with Kerbin's side rail day. So that means that it takes you 6 hours to complete an orbit of Kerbin. That is the difference between them. This is, we are staying stationary with one spot. Usually that means you have to go up to 2868000 and 2868000 for a PE, or get it as close as you possibly can. It has to use, well, mostly it has to do with how fast you're going or how much your orbital speed is, but we won't get into that. So anyway, I am all set up to do this, so let's get there. If you notice that this is actually the perfect station to do this, because it's the next station away from Kerbal Space Program, and what usually happens is that once you get up to the apoapsis of 286, whatever you're doing, this is usually perfectly lined up, and we'll show you how this goes after. Am I completely lined up? It's just other lines are just confusing me. So we'll just go like this. We'll kind of make this out to put our waypoint for we know where we need to do. We're gonna have to do some fine adjustments afterwards, but that's okay. So there we go. Come up around. There we go. How long does it say it's going to take me? 21 seconds? Alright, because you can see how right now how we're turning and Kerbin is turning with us. Sometimes these stations are actually on the other side of Kerbin, and you're going to have to do a little bit more fandangling to get lined up with them, but it's all part of orbital mechanics. It's not a difficult thing to do, I promise you, once you learn the basics of it. Hey, let me wow, this one is a lot more, well, one more to turn than my edited game, where I have pretty much all the technology unlocked, and I test all of these missions before I put it into a real game, as I have here. I was very satisfied with what I had, so we can dispense with hopefully nothing bad will happen type of deal. So it says we've got to take 21 seconds to do this. Let's figure this out. 21 seconds, half of 21 seconds. We'll just call it 10 and go for it. It's probably going to go down a little bit. No, it did a little bit. That's fine. The first thing you'll notice is that the line of sight thing has checked off. That means we are definitely in a line of sight of it. It will uncheck if I leave the line of sight of it. I have set that up to do that, so beware. Ooh, we kind of went over a little bit. Ooh. Okay. And what are we at here? 2853, 2894. So we're a little bit high and a little bit low. So let's fix that. Now I'm not going to be able to fix it with these engines because they're just too much. So we're going to switch over to this. We're going to get rid of this just like that. And I'm going to set these engines, the thrust down a little bit. When you got to do fine adjustments like this, it's best to do it this way. So again, I have my line of sight of the East Shore station with the right frequency. Again, we got it set to 30.5. That frequency is actually used in two different objectives. This one and the send data stream to connect satellite to customers. So it's the first time I've ever connected objectives or parameters, as they're called in the editing world of Kerbal Space Program contracts. First time I've ever connected them and have them communicating with each other. It's pretty interesting. Actually, I have the part and the contract and the parameters all speaking to each other. Yes, it was pretty cool. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. That's where I spent the other half of the time trying to learn different coding techniques to do that. We won't talk about events and delegates and all that stuff, but hey, that's what I did. If you're just wondering, if you're a coder and wondering how I did it, that's fine. All right, so let's fix this orbit here. Hopefully we're not going to go off too much. We shouldn't, because we have plenty of time to fix these. So I'm going to get to the AP and I'm going to fix the PE. So that has to be raised a little bit. There we go. Let me guess. Is this thing still going to be slow? It's not too bad now. It has to be raised. Not that. So there we go. Go just like that. So all right, 268. We're not going to be able to do it this time. 26. Yeah, there we go. So I just set my periapsis to 268, which is in line with this. There is a lapse here that you can, it's hard to get exactly at 268. So there is a 1,000 meter adjustment each way that you can be to get that right. And if you guys are wondering what that is, if not, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm not telling you. There we go. We're still lined up. Now you see how I'm sort of moving with the station there? That is a geostationary orbit. We're not exactly in a geostationary orbit because it has to be almost exact, or you'll kind of creep a little bit. Creeping is meaning it'll just kind of eventually, after, like 5,000 days or so, it will finally, we'll kind of move over a little bit. But 2.8, that's actually, we've got to lower that. So let's go to the other side. Oh, I had it right. There we go. All right, 286. This 286, not 285. This one's going to be the one that we're going to have to do it a couple times, I believe. No, actually it just hit right there. How's that possible? That's weird. Whatever. It's kind of weird that way. Alrighty, so everything else is lined up. Launch a new unmanned probe that has an antenna and generate power. So the last part is that we actually have to send the data stream and connect satellite to the customers. So how we do that is we right click on this again, and we'll go over everything that this has in it since we are talking about the new mod and how it works. All right, so the first thing we'll see is part locked equals false. We'll talk about that in a second. The satellite type, in this case, it's the navigation core, which is connected here. That's what we grabbed. The module type is maritime GPS. That is the 3 that we set for the module type in the editor. So that's what this is. It's a maritime GPS satellite. Frequency, we set it to 30.5. We've seen that all up here. The have line of sight. East Shore Station is definitely all set. And status locked, whatever. So start data startup is that we just have to hit that. And we should... Yeah, so I did mess this up. I'm supposed to have a communication core, not a navigation core. Why didn't I just see that? I saw it, but then I forgot it. Alrighty, so I have to fix that. That is an issue. So I'll be right back. I'll get another satellite up here and we'll do it all over. Alrighty, guys, I'm just finishing up this last part. There we go. All done. We're in the parameters and our acceptable error rate for the geostationary. Geostationary, have line of sight again. We can see it. We are basically right there. We're still in line of sight of it. We're a little bit off, but that's fine. We can see our old vessel that's right there. So we're pretty close to them. So here we go. Now we can actually send it. Again, I have to have, this time, I mean, it's all the same stuff. It's the same mission. So frequency of 30.5, and that's everything. So let's take a look. So this is the communications core. So part locked is false, satellite type communication, module type government, and frequency 30.5. Now you don't see that locked thing down here. There was like a little thing that says lock. That means that it was the wrong satellite type for this. So data startup. We're going to send the data, and that time everything got sent. Send data stream and connect satellite to customers. Now all the objectives are done. This mission is complete. We made 158,000 on it. Give or take, how much these satellites cost, I forgot. So let's go back to the Space Center. Let's see how much these cost. And what are the prices of these? They're 18,000, so they're not too bad, really, if you think about it. So there you go. We finished that mission. We go into our archives to see all the missions that we've done. Where is it? Launch new communication satellite. Now we'll be able to see it whenever we want. So there you go. Now, one of the big things that is different in this mission. Now, I showed you just one of the satellite missions. Now, the satellite missions are all pretty... Oh, I actually have one I could show you right now. Wow, that was pretty cool. So these are normal satellite missions. No, that's not a satellite mission. Where is it? I don't want to lose it. So we saw... Blah, blah, blah. I won't lose it. Launch a new navigational satellite. That's the part we should have had. So these are the normal ones like we just ran. There is another satellite mission. This is the bread and butter. This is why we have frequencies and why I took the time to install in Mission Controller what we call the... like the Kerbal Space Center. These are all ground stations. So there's 6 ground stations in all. There's 4 on the equator of Kerbin, and there's 1 at the North Pole and 1 at the South Pole. And they're set up to set up a satellite network within a contract. That means that a contract that actually has you launching 6 satellites in all to make a network. And that is where this comes into along. This is the other type of new satellite mission. Launch new network navigation system satellite over Kerbin. If we take a look at it, they'll say launch 6 navigation satellites around Kerbin, establish a network for transportation. All 6, this one's a navigation one. There's 2 different ones. There's navigation and there's the communication. The other ones, like the research and the weather ones, do not need to be in a network. They don't have. It's not realistic of a system for these are networks. They'll all be connected to each other, and they'll connect. The premise is that they'll connect a company or a government entity in a communications or whatever they need to do. Think of like satellite phones or GPS, stuff like that. So same message here. Everything's different. We look down here and things look a little bit different. You can set both the frequency 30.5 and module type of 3 in the editor with tweak sliders. Set these values before takeoff. They cannot be changed after vessel's launch. That's the same message before. I have to actually change that message to to something else. I thought I did change it for this, but I was probably incorrect. So this one is set module type. So it's different. So it's all set up for 6 different satellites. I still have a little bit of work to do on this. I haven't fully done a full mission yet. It has worked, but I still have a few bugs and stuff to clean up before I actually release this to you guys. That's why I'm not doing this mission yet. I'm just showing you the premise of it. So it's a little different in this version because it puts all the notes up here, and I don't really like that. That's just the way this does it. It puts, when you're looking at a contract in Mission Control, all the notes are here, but when you're looking at the contract in the game, the notes are in the correct spot. So let's go down here, and we'll see that everything is set up almost the same. So enter geostationary orbit around Kerbin, and enter geostation. So this is the same thing over and over. Every time you launch a satellite, it's expecting you to put this at 286-800. When you launch a new satellite, this will become, even if it's complete, will go incomplete, and you'll have to do it over and over. That's to make sure that you actually set up the correct network. You know, you're at the right height and you're not cheating the system. So this is the bread and butter of the whole thing right here. Send data stream and connect satellite to customers. That is connected with have line of sight of Kerbal Space Center with frequency 30.5. So these two are connected. That means you have to do them together. So when you launched, if you were to launch a satellite, you would do these two together, and you would finish that objective, and then you'd launch another satellite, and you do the next objective. So this objective, send data stream and connect satellite to customers, is connected with this frequency, which is 31.5, and that continues all the way down until we get to the basic. All the satellites have to have an antenna and can generate power. The vessel must survive while contract is active. Now I have tested this. I've gotten I think 3 of them into it, and it does work perfect. The next test I do have to make, and won't make it in this playthrough, I'll make it in my my testing environment, is that I know, because I know some of you guys are going to try to do this mission in one launch. You're going to launch 6 satellites. I have to actually make sure that will work. That's the last thing I got to check to make sure this whole system is set. So that's basically the big huge network type of contract. You got to launch 6 satellites. They're all independently tracked with this contract and how I've set up Mission Controller, meaning that if you launch one satellite with the right frequency, it will hook up to the right ground station. What I'm trying to say, I guess I should say. So that's something to keep in mind. And every objective, which think of these as 1 objective, 2 objectives, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, has a payout. So once you send up this satellite, you'll get paid $112.50, and so on and so on. Obviously, this pays pretty good money, almost $650,000, $660 almost. Plus, you get the major payout, the completion, which is another $181,250, which brings this to what, about 800,000 funds to complete this mission. Now that's no small task. You got to launch 6 separate vessels, or you got to launch 1 large vessel that will put all of these up there. So yeah, that is it. That is the new Mission Controller that will be coming out. Probably it might be a few days after you see this video, or if I find any more bugs, it might be a little bit after. So hopefully in this week at some point we'll get that. But until now, guys, I think that's it. I'm glad I could show you guys that. I hope you enjoyed the episode. How much money did we got? 866. Yeah, so we didn't make a whole lot of money because we launched a couple of them, but no big deal. Let's upgrade this. I did tell you I would upgrade this. So upgrade, it's going to cost us almost $500,000. So there we go. We'll jump down to 4. Now we can upgrade all our science, and we can get back to the science next episode. So thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you have a great day. Malkuth out of here.